The time has come.
Hallelujah.
For ministries, particularly traveling ministries, to have some other method of travel
Yes, sir.
other than the airlines.
That's right. Yes, sir. Agreed.
You get into this situation, we're not going to let you fly unless you're vaccinated. Well, to me, that's the mark of the beast.
Literally, the God aspect, what God told me to do, how I even got involved. Because one thing I said, I'll never do politics. But when it came down to it, it wasn't about doing politics. It was about an assignment to say no to President Trump would be saying no.
It means parents can demand the removal of any book with perceived anti-religious content from school. Subjects like LGBT plus issues, evolution, the Big Bang Theory and even birth control could be off the table.
A Republican state lawmaker in Oklahoma recently proposed a new bill that would allow parents to nominate books in their child's school library to be removed. And if it wasn't removed, the book remains on the shelves, and the parents will receive $10,000 per day. Donna Edwards and Tim Miller are back with me to talk about this. Donna, this is obviously like people propose crazy stuff in state legislatures all the time. But what struck me about this is the sort of personal bounty system that was pioneered in the Texas abortion law being sort of used, copied and pasted out in other places, but also the fact that the sort of anti-critical race theory movement that started, about a year ago is metastasizing in all kinds of ways that start to look very, very familiar to previous periods of American moral panics.
Yeah, it feels like the 1990s all over again. And indeed, I think Republicans are clearly going to use this quote unquote education and parental involvement and what's taught in schools and what's in libraries as a mechanism to draw their base voters out for this election. And I think it's going to be really important to have a response to that is responsible, that is about, local educators making decisions about what happens in classrooms, working in concert with parents, bringing resources into the classroom. And that is going to have to be a counter narrative to this, what is really an underlying narrative about race in our schools and school system.
Tim, what I liked about this bill is that in some ways it's the logical conclusion of the criticism leveled at Terry McAuliffe for that thing that he said in the debate, where he said something like, I forget what the words were, basically parents aren't in charge of what their kids learn in school. And people hated that, and I think it was probably politically quite tone deaf. But it's also like descriptively true in the sense of the inverse of that is just to give every single individual parent total veto control over every single thing taught in school, which, credit where due, is what this bill does, basically. But you obviously cannot run a school system that way.
Yeah, look, obviously that was a politically poor statement by McAuliffe. But even at the time, I was saying that I think the Democrats could have used, maybe not the McAuliffe campaign himself, but an outside group coming in to help him and trying to turn this on its head. We're in the midst of the CRT panic. You were seeing these shirtless guys at the Loudoun County School Board, like getting in fights with people. And some of them, their kids weren't even in the district. And this notion of, do you want that guy running your school's curriculum, right? Like the idea of parents being involved in the school's curriculum, everyone is for. The idea of the most crazy MAGA person dictating what the Loudoun County school system should be, I think is going to give a lot of parents, a lot of, Republican Joe Biden crossover voters in Northern Virginia a little bit of pause. And I just think that in general, that this is an area where, the Democrats need to give as good as they get in the culture war side of this stuff, because what is being proposed in Oklahoma, some of this stuff around CRT is very, very unpopular. I think it was getting mixed up with some other things that I think are more popular among swing voters. But the triggered MAGA voter trying to ban books is not a winner, and it's not a winner either for them to be dictating your kids' curriculum.